And of course, the war in Ukraine has also put at risk all the food normally produced in both Russia and the Ukraine, which brings us to point number 10. Consider this from the United Nations. Their headline, New Scenarios on Global Food Security Based on Russian-Ukraine Conflict. They say Russia is the world's largest exporter of wheat and Ukraine is the 5th largest. Together, they provide 19% of the world's barley supply, 14% of wheat, and 4% of maize, making up more than 1/3 of global cereal exports. When you look at all 10 issues together, you're likely very worried, especially when we know that the food demand is at record levels and supply chains are breaking down. Is this a real problem or just a set of conspiracies? To break it down, we've invited Ross Kennedy into the Economic War Room. Ross is a global supply chain expert and has recently published some important thoughts on food production and the risk of shortages. Ross is a senior fellow at Security Studies Group and a founder of Fortis Analysis. Welcome, Ross.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you having me.
Hey, we only have a couple of minutes left. Are you worried about the food supply?
Yeah, I am, both on a domestic basis here in the U.S., domestic North America, given that Mexico and Canada are tightly coupled to us on many things, including food, but also worried about it from an international standpoint. And the reasons for that worry is not just the top line number of here's X number of bushels or tons of product that may or may not be available over the next year. It's that we're dealing with really the collapse of a very globalized, industrialized food system that a lot of countries rely on, and in some ways our own relies on.
Yeah, no, it's a scary thing. You heard my opening and some of those various issues. Overall, is it a conspiracy? Is it reality? What are we facing?
We're facing the reality of significant constraints across a whole lot of things. It's constraints at the raw material level, at the production level, weather, shipping and transportation, regulatory environment, fuel costs. All of these things are not just tightly coupled, but they're interdependent and interconnected in a very complex systemic way. And when any one of them fails, the system is able to absorb some of that and kind of spread or disperse the impact across. When you talk about everything beginning to fail sort of simultaneously, both from natural, understandable, predictable reasons, but also the malign intent of geopolitical actors and private parties within that, you've got a very, very toxic mess that is going to take some time and some real significant investment and forethought by our country, at least, to unwind for us.